Well, howdy and hello, my friends. With us today is my friend Jason Falls. Hi, Jason.
How's it going, Mr. Feldman?
Going pretty well. How's it going for you?
Great,
All
great.
right,
It's a little cold where I am, but depending on when you're watching this, that won't matter.
Louisville,
Louisville, yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky. But you get around, if not physically, virtually, right? So I knew you once upon a time from Social Media Explorer, then Cafe Express, and now something else. So new year, new outlook. But the cool thing is you don't leave these brands behind. They're still part of the Jason Falls story. So catch us up with where you're at.
Yeah, so I'm Senior Vice President for Digital Strategy at Elasticity, which is a digital marketing and PR firm headquartered in St. Louis. Aaron Perlett, Brian Cross, and Andy Barnett are the three main partners there. They left Fleischman Hillard a few years ago with this vision of using great content to fuel fantastic social engagement, really good traditional PR media relations, and those things converge to elevate search engine results. So we have this very digital-centric, content-centric focus and do a really good job with disruptive content. And so that kind of fits my personality, and it was a good fit. And they were the PR firm and still are the PR firm for Cafe Press, where I was the vice president for digital strategy for a couple of years. So it was a really nice kind of transition just to the agency side from the brand, and we all still work together and get along great.
Are you the chief disruption officer?
No, I'm actually, I think on my business card it says I am the chief bourbon consumption strategist.
Well, that throws in an extra initial. Okay, what are the initials? Chief B.
BCS, which is almost Chief BS, which is kind of appropriate too.
That is appropriate. That's a great segue because I don't know, on your resume somewhere it has to have your book, which is called No Bullshit Social Media.
That is true.
And then I guess if you can have a greatest hit on your resume for blogging, there's this idea that you once said, talked about, and talk about still that I want to have our conversation about is the best content makes you go, holy smokes,
Yep.
or if it doesn't have a explicit lyrics sticker on it, it's holy shit, But one way or the other, you respond with an exclamation point, right?
Exactly. The first time I actually unveiled that idea was at an event I did in Dallas, Texas in 2012, and the talk was called Holy Shit. And so I obviously have, tempered it a little bit for more wide distribution over the years. But yeah,
That's still a bad word.
well, I guess it is in some circles. I mean, I still get stink eye looks from people who take my book home and their kids see it on the coffee table and, Mommy, what does bullshit mean? I'm like, well, that's your problem for leaving it out, not my problem for writing it. But
Junior,
yes,
it's time we had a talk about bullshit.
exactly. So the concept though is pretty simple, right? We respond as consumers when we're reading, when we're watching, when we're listening. We respond to things that hit an emotional chord. They make us laugh, they make us cry, they make us happy, sad, whatever. And so when you are preparing content, whether it's a 140 character tweet, whether it is a video for YouTube, whether it is a billboard, whether it is a CEO speech, whatever, your job as a marketer is to prepare content that makes the audience in some fashion say, holy smokes, that's insert adjective here. Could be interesting, sad, funny, makes me mad, makes me want to pass it along. Holy smokes, I really need to share that, right? That's what you're shooting for. If you can do that most of the time, nobody's going to do it all the time, but if you can do that most of the time, more than likely you're going to be pretty happy with your content.
It's an interesting measure of success. Is this shared? Will this be shared? In your piece, I guess, Social Media Explorer piece, uh, holy smokes, exclamation point, and then words followed. You went through and said, here's what I did on Facebook recently, right?
Mhm.
So it's like the evidence was I shared this stuff, and you asked yourself why.
Right, I'll quickly sort of go down the list of those things for everybody. So this is I just took a snapshot of one day. I went to my activity stream. I liked a photo of a coworker dancing with his daughter at a father-daughter dance. Uploaded a photo of a friend's daughter and her dance team. They were on ESPN, and I did a screen cap of it, and I posted that. I liked a photo of a bottle of bourbon reviewed by a fellow bourbon aficionado. I commented on the story of Philip Seymour Hoffman's death, which kind of gives you a time frame of when I wrote this. So all of those things, as minuscule and trivial as they may seem, triggered an emotional response, right? I saw a picture of a coworker at a father-daughter dance with his daughter. Oh man, that's sweet. That's cool. I'm going to like that, or I'm going to comment on it, right? It elicited a response in me. And all of those mundane things that we do on Facebook are emotional responses. Now, when I say emotional response, it doesn't mean I read it or consume it and go, oh my God! It doesn't have to be an explosion of emotion,
Right.
but it has to be something that makes you go, I am now going to take an action based on this piece of content. As marketers, as content marketers, that's what we have to do, is prepare something that is going to make our ideal target audience do that, to do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I know you enough to know that you're a Kentuckian, so the bourbon connection almost seems inevitable, and you're a parent, and so the father-daughter dance and so forth. I know. So what they did is they made an emotional connection with you, perhaps unknowingly. In some cases they're your friends, in some cases just casual acquaintances, based on what you're interested in. But you didn't say holy smokes, nor did you share a 3,000 word instruction manual, free assessment checklist, what have you. The lion's share of content marketing are these deep how-tos. Would that work? Does that come with an exclamation point?
It does, if you are in that mode, right? If I am trying to figure out how to write some sort of command in JavaScript that's crazy, right, funky, and it's a little bit beyond my comprehension, and I search for something online and I find it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really useful. Holy smokes, this helped me, because I know other people that might write JavaScript, and please don't get me wrong, I don't write JavaScript. But because I know people and I work with people who do that, this is a helpful thing. I'm going to share that content, right? So within the context of whatever industry or vertical or topic that you're writing about, you want that ultimate, whoever you're writing it for, someone who's looking for a solution to this JavaScript code issue, to be able to go, oh, holy smokes, this was perfect. Thank you so much. They're either going to let you know that they appreciated it, or they're going to, if they think it's going to be useful for other people, they're then going to share it or bookmark it, or however they do that in their lives. But what you've done is you've elicited that emotional response.
You made me think that this could be a dichotomy. Now it's going to be a graduated one, but over here is holy smokes. The extreme response. I dug it. I got to share it. I might never forget it. And that the other extreme is ho-hum. That is so unbelievably forgettable, just Me Too stuff. But most stuff's somewhere in here, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's where we have to remember two things. Number one, again, you don't have to go for the explosion of emotion in order for the content to be successful. But you have to go for some sort of response. And so most everything is going to be in the middle. I think the other idea that spurs for me is we have to understand that in going into our, how do we measure success? How do we quantify and benchmark our success? Because chances are, for every 100 pieces of content you put out there, the emotional explosion is only going to happen maybe one time, possibly two. If you're really, really good, 5, right? Okay. Everything else is going to be somewhere in the, okay, we instigated a response. We caused someone to like, share, comment, respond, complain, whatever, but it wasn't the, oh my God, I hate you, or oh my God, I want to marry you, or whatever the big emotional response is. It's always, most of it's going to be right there in that middle. You're right. But there has to be a needle moving in order for you to be successful.
All right, so let's maybe see if we can figure out ways to help people whose punctuation is a period. I'm using it as a metaphor now. It's like, the ho-hum would be no punctuation. The holy smokes would be the exclamation point. We've got the period. We're in the middle. We're looking for that vertical mark that's like unforgettably emotional. So let's say, I'm a subject matter expert. I know my Java. I know blogging. I know Facebook, whatever it is I'm going to write about. And I'm looking to get better. I'm looking to move the needle like you just talked about. Where would you start? I can't put bourbon in every story.
No, you can't. But there are ways to do it. I mean, obviously you can use humor. Now that's a little tricky and subjective. Not everybody's cut out for humor, and you hopefully have some sort of self-awareness and sense that you may or may not be cut out for humor. If you don't think you are, you're probably not. You may want to run some of the punchlines by some folks to say, "Is this going to work?"
Yeah, buy an original knock knock joke from a comedian.
That's kind of stupid. Don't use that. If they say that, then don't.
Yeah.
So humor is one way to do it. Obviously, writing for the other end of the spectrum, sort of the drama emotion, is another way to do it. But within each of those, you can break that down even further. So it might be, and this is what I like to do. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a writing perspective was from my high school junior and senior year. I had an English teacher who really inspired me to want to learn how to write better. And one of the things she used to tell me is, Jason, your headline and your lead should smack people in the face. And the rest of the piece is all about making them thank you for smacking them in the face.
Yeah, that's
and so I've always tried to attack my prose with that. Say something in the headline and in the lead that really grabs them and makes them go, what the hell? And then they get a couple paragraphs into it and they're like, oh, wow, this is really good. This is really interesting. And so that's kind of an individual, like almost a blog idea of how to exercise that holy smokes philosophy. I think the same thing can be said in the social channels. If you're tweeting about something that's going on or a piece of content that you want to link to, just writing, 7 tips to write better headlines, great piece from Jason Falls, bleh, that's just kind of bleh. But if you say, I think Jason Falls is crazy, look at this post about headline writing. Now all of a sudden people are going, why is he crazy? Click. Now you've elicited the response, right? Now you've gotten a click. So it's little things like that can be tweaked in the language to make it a little sexier, I guess.
Yeah, I think definitely there's recipes. I mean, this is definitely abstract and intangible, and we're really talking about neuroscience or psychology. And so I think if you wanted to practice it, the teacher translated it into English. He said, make a headline slap somebody upside the head. You would read probably from accomplished writers, and perhaps even scientists have gone down this path. What causes those emotions? You simply get better at it. It doesn't have to be humor. It could be current events. It could be news. It could, I think what makes you memorable is you put a little piece of you in there somehow. Like a recent great book on this topic is called Contagious, right? And that guy, that author, Bergman, what's his name? Jonah Berger, I should know his name. That's a cool book. He went to the scientists and came away with, these are the things that make people share your stuff. And then they do trace back to the emotional buttons you pushed.
Yep, absolutely. So let me give you another example, if I can. I'm trying to bring up a document so that I can actually sort of read from it because I think it would make a lot of sense. Sometimes it can be a subtlety in just simply the words that you use, and I think a lot of, especially not too experienced writers, will use catchphrases. Like if you're writing something that has like a top 10 list, or here's 5 reasons that we do this, you'll actually write, you'll do a little intro paragraph like, here are 5 reasons that you should not write blogs this way, colon, and then you go into them. That sentence can be 11 billion times more sexy, right? You can lead into this list of ideas by being very flowery with your language, by sort of whetting the appetite of the audience member. Just doing the standard, here are 5 things, and then listing the 5 things, that's boring. Don't be boring. Go in there and try to get them excited about the 5 things. Make them want to read the next paragraph so that they keep going.
Yeah, someone asked this question as a gauge of whether it's worth your time. Would I read that?
Yeah.
That's
So you're great way to look at it.
Yeah, you're going to appeal to like-minded people, and maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't read a post that starts with a number and then the list or the suggest it's going to be sort of common ground material. But would I read that? I see a lot of those. What's special about this one? You did talk a little bit, I think, about the arousal of your curiosity, which is probably another great tip, right? Slapping you in the face gets your attention. Well, you can't touch somebody physically with a headline, so how do you slap them with the words you choose?
Exactly.
All right, cool conversation. I'm glad that we unraveled the use of the exclamation point, otherwise known as holy smoke. So thanks a lot for joining me on this call today, Jason.
Glad to be here, Barry. Thanks for asking me.
All right, talk to you.